So today we're working on review number 4, other equation solving. This warning, disclaimer, this video might be a little long, but there's a lot of steps to these. So feel free to skip, watch things on double time, do what you need to do to understand this work. So for question number 1, it says the rational expression x squared plus 4x minus 21 all over x squared minus 49 can be simplified to which of the following, assuming x cannot be equal to 7 or negative 7. Now remember, this is here because you can't have a 0 in the denominator. So what we're going to do is factor and then simplify. So I'm going to start at the top. This is a trinomial. So to factor that, I have my x, and then another x, and you have to find two numbers that multiply to negative 21 and add up to 4. So that would be x plus 7 and x minus 3. And then the bottom one is difference of perfect squares. So for that one, I have my two parentheses with a plus and a minus. The square root of x squared is x, so I'm going to put that there. Square root of 49 is 7. That goes there. And then what you do is you cross out your matching factors. X plus 7 is a match on the top and the bottom. And you're left with x minus 3 all over x minus 7. That's your answer. You cannot cross off the x's because these are binomials. The minus sign cements them together. So number 4 is your answer. Okay, trying to move up. Number 2, which of the following is the solution set to x equals negative radical 2x plus 15? So before we do anything, we need to be able to square this radical symbol. So I have to get rid of this negative sign. That's not inside the square root symbol. So in order to get rid of that, I am going to, you can think divide by a negative 1, multiply by a negative 1. It means the same thing. So I'm just going to hit multiply. So then I'm left with negative 1x equals the square root of 2x plus 15. That's a 15. Sorry about that. We're going to square both sides, square that whole thing. So negative 1x times negative 1x is positive 1x squared. And then we have 2x plus 15 over on the right-hand side. Since we have an exponent, I am going to get one side equal to 0 and then hopefully factor. So I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides and 15 on both sides. So here I have x squared minus 2x minus 15 equals 0. It's a trinomial, so I can factor. I could also use quadratic formula. Two numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add up to negative 2 are negative 5 and positive 3. Whoops, I forgot the x there. Set both factors equal to 0, and you get x equals 5 and x equals negative 3. Now, what you need to do is check these answers. Because we have squared a radical, you could come up with an extraneous root. So I'm going to go back to my original equation, negative radical 2x plus 15. First thing I'm going to do is plug this 5 in. So 5 equals negative 2 times 5 plus 15. So this would be negative. This is radical 25. So the square root of 25 is 5, but there's a negative here. This you reject. It doesn't work. Sometimes you reject, sometimes you don't. Let me, just to save space, I'm going to erase this. And now I'm going to plug in negative 3. Let's see what we get. So negative 3 equals negative 2 times negative 3 plus 15. So that is negative 6 plus 15, which gives you 9. So when you square root 9, you get 3, and there's a negative. So this one works. It's true. So our answer is x equals -3. All right, I've cleared my screen. I got more room again. Number 3, which of the following represents the sum 1 over x plus 1 over phi expressed as a single fraction? First thing we have to recognize is when you're adding or subtracting with fractions, your denominators need to match. In this case, they don't. So I'm going to make my least common denominator be the product of both of them. So I'm going to make my denominator be x, y. That means I have to multiply. Hold up. Let me zoom this in a little bit if I can. I'm working with a Word document today, so it's not ideal. So our LCD is xy, so that means I have to multiply this first fraction by x and the second fraction by y. So my two fractions become y over xy plus 1x over xy. Now your common denominator stays the same, and you combine your numerators. So you could say y plus x, but using the commutative property, I'm going to say x plus y. It's an alphabetical order kind of thing. And there's my answer. Let's see what we've got going here. Formatting this, that should be down here. Okay. Oh boy. And the equation's all the way up here. Fantastic. So it says, which of the following represents the solution set of the equation 1 minus 16 over x squared equals 6 over x? So I am just going to rewrite my equation here. 1 minus 16 over x squared, 6. So I'm going to start by making that a fraction. Couple different ways you could do this. I like to get rid of my fractions. So what I'm going to do is make a least common denominator, LCD equals x squared. And then what I'm going to do is multiply each fraction to make sure that cancels out. So I'm going to multiply this first fraction by x squared, the bottom and the top. This one's good. It's already got an x squared on the bottom. And this one I'm going to multiply by x. That's a multiply symbol. And then what happens is those go away. So I'm left with 1x squared minus 16 equals 6x. So we have an exponent. I'm trying to move this. Oh boy. We're going to get one side equal to 0. So I'm going to minus 6x. So I have x squared minus 6x minus 16 equals 0. And again, I'm going to factor it. So I have x minus 8, x plus 2, multiply to negative 16, add to negative 6. So my answer is x equals 8 and x equals negative 2. Now you should go back and check, make sure you don't have any values that you should reject. In this original problem, I should have said this before, there were x's in the denominator. So in this case, x cannot be equal to 0 because what would happen is the denominator would be 0. In this case, it's fine, and our answer is 4.